What's the craziest butterfly effect that happened to you because of a small decision you made? I had to call my heart surgeon to give him my new insurance hashes. I had only just gotten them because the person who had them had the flu and was not getting back to me as soon as I got my numbers. I called surgeon. The receptionist said, "Oh, hey, we just had a cancellation for this Friday. Do you want it?" Of course I wanted to get it over and not wait another month. Decided to take the open heart surgery cancellation appointment a month before my actual appointment. And well, surgeon said that thank goodness I did, because once he got a look inside, he realized I would not have survived to the original appointment date. So, if the insurance lady didn't have the flu, I would have gotten those numbers a lot sooner and never gotten the offer to have the surgery when I did. Someone else's flu saved my life. Wow. 14 years post-op, I had a brand new aorta that will last a lifetime and aortic bovine valve. It's due to run out soon, but I still feel good. The story that describes the discovery of needing surgery is even more bizarre. BC I did not have symptoms, and I was running 3 miles a day, 30 years old, to healthy child labors. If my youngest made it to full term, he would have been too big and the aorta would have burst. Clean eater. A long strange trip. So a few years back, I lived in Nice, south of France, for a while. As a musician I would make a bit of extra cash busking. And one day, I figured I'd go and busk at the Promenade d'Anglaise by the sea. It's usually packed, and it's just a generally pleasant place to be. I set up, played a couple of songs, and was doing pretty well, and making a decent amount of money. Then suddenly not one, but two of my guitar strings snapped. I even remember I was playing The Scientist at the time. I was massively gutted and decided to cut my losses early. I stormed off home, by the station, in a bit of a sulk at having to restring my guitar, and cutting short what was essentially one of my most productive days of busking since moving there. Literally 1 hour later, my phone starts to blow the duck up with family and friends freaking out and asking if I was at the promenade. It was Bastille Day, 2016. The truck drove into the same crowd I was playing to, killing 86 people, including my at the time GF's uncle. I had 2 other friends who were amongst the 458 injured. I moved home the next month because it was too much and haven't been back since. It's hard to explain. Sometimes I think I was super lucky. Sometimes I just kind of cry and wonder why I was lucky and others weren't. It's surreal. And despite what people think, it's a truly horrible feeling. Semicolon. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by the support of people. I will be getting therapy, and hopefully in time I'll be able to return to Nice as it was one of my favorite places on earth. Take care of yourselves, and if you've been through something similar, it looks like help is out there. Thank you all. Survivor's guilt is a thing. Please get some therapy. You shouldn't have to carry that guilt on your shoulders. I'm glad you're okay. Wow. So I just looked up survivor's guilt, and it was really quite overwhelming reading about it and comparing symptoms. I'm 100% going to get some help, I think. Thank you for the recommendation as well as the kind words. Watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and got so annoyed at the candidates not knowing a simple question about Katy Perry that I applied. Got in. Got to play. Won a lot of money. Booked a holiday to a dream destination with that money. Met my husband there. We now have a 1-year-old son. This one made me laugh. Congrats. Thank you. I decided to invite my chemical lab partner to lunch on the first day of college. Just to be friendly and try to make more than one friend at school. We met up with the only other friend I'd made at school so far. He thought my lab partner was cute, invited himself to hang out with her, and then fell in love with her roommate instead. He ended up married to the roommate. They've been together for 22 years and have 2 children. Well, now I'm mad. I thought the person who was supposed to be my chemical lab partner on the first day was cute. I got up to use the bathroom, and when I came back some late student came in and had taken my seat. We both looked at each other pretty disappointed, and I instead got an annoying guy. I had to renew the sticker on my license plate a couple of years ago and really didn't feel like sitting in the waiting room by myself forever. So I told my mom I'd take her out to dinner after if she came with me. The guy working at the counter turned out to be my mom's long lost biological brother. If she hadn't come with me, I would have never known. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. I'll let my mom know that you all think her story is cool too. Cheers. How is this not the top comment? Also, I feel like more information definitely wouldn't hurt. Just tried to keep it short and sweet. But I now refer to the guy as my Uncle Jeff, and my family has become relatively close to his in the last couple years. Pretty cool. In high school I took an intermediate biology course. I had never done biology before, but was good at science generally, so I thought the intermediate course would be a good fit. My science teacher of a couple year previous happened to walk into my class to talk to the biology teacher, and she spotted me in the class. She asked me what grades I had got the previous year. I told her, and she nodded and left. A minute later she came back in and asked me to gather my belongings and leave the class. I was pretty sure I was in trouble for something I couldn't recall. She led me to another classroom and sat me down on an empty chair. Then she just started teaching. Turns out that she was running the advanced class that year and just decided to steal me as a student. I went on to take biology at undergrad level and then a master's. I ended up doing a PhD in immunology and now work as an advisor for pharma companies. It gets better though. I decided I wanted to do my master's in London and met a girl on the way. We are now 10 years in and own a house together. All that because that teacher happened to look in my direction. LMAO, that teacher straight up stealing students. Out of university, looking for a job, and exhausting all the online resources. On a whim, I looked in the career section in a print newspaper that was lying around in the house. We never subscribed to that paper. I don't know why it was even there. Got the job in a different city. Met someone who is now one of my best friends. Who introduced me to their friends. Who introduced me to their friends, and so on. Until I was eventually introduced to my wife. If I'd found a job where I actually planned on working, there is absolutely no way I would have crossed paths with any of these people. Edit 1. I met my wife through a friend. Who I met through another friend. Who I met through another friend. Who I met through the first friend I made at the company. Edit 2. I guess I need to go watch Early Edition. Close bracket. Newspapers from Destiny itself. Check the date. Maybe they get tomorrow's newspaper today. When I was in 8th grade, 13 years old, I had a really long bus ride home, so would pass the time by reading. One day I faced the very serious situation of nothing to read and a minute to grab something in the library. And for whatever reason I grabbed a book on astronomy. That book was amazing and grabbed me like nothing else had before. I remember being excited to realize every astronomer on Earth was 13 years old once too, and that was a career you could actually do, even if you were from Pittsburgh. Anyway, today I'm a professional astronomer who studies gigantic space explosions for a living. There was a lot of work to get from that moment to this one, but I'm always grateful that I picked up that library book. Edit. I'm getting questions on how to be an astronomer and wrote a detailed post. Here link. reddit.com/r/andromeda321/comments/fidget/updated_so_you_want_an_be_an_astronomer/ on this topic at some point. Please read it over and feel free to message or leave a question here if you have one. Right on. What major did you do in college? Some major. Badum chhhhh. My husband. He found out after 18 years that his mom's side of the family was Spanish, not Mexican. He found this interesting and changed his country to Spain on MySpace instead the US, where he really was. Meanwhile in Australia, I was helping my friend find Spanish people to add as a friend as she was learning the language. I came across my now husband and decided to send him a friend request as well. We got along really well and met in person after 3 years. Have been together 11 years. Married for 7. If he didn't change his country to Spain, and only for a day or so, we'd never know each other existed. This one is the best I've read so far. Every decision you have made and will ever make has eventually lead to you reading this sentence. If you ever become rich and successful, remember to thank this sentence. Made a last minute decision to go to a friend's divorce party and met my wife. Different people, right? Yeah, the divorced person was a mutual friend. About 10 years ago, there were no PC games to play, so I tried using Windows XP's Movie Maker out of boredom. I didn't know that I'm going to enjoy it and take it seriously. Now, I'm currently working on a TV/film production as a video editor. Clarification, I mean, there's no games that is installed with our computer back then. I also started on Windows Movie Maker! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I specifically remember having to save the video multiple times and import it back in to add more text layers and firewall. Yes, and I remember having issues with exporting the video when it's longer than 4 minutes. 4 years ago, a kid I barely knew from school invited me to a Six Flags. I was a bit of a loner at the time, and I heard rumors about this kid being weird, so I intended to not go. On the day he wanted me to go, I was feeling extra bored and decided on a whim why not, so I went and met this kid and 2 of his friends I've never met at a Six Flags. 4 years later, and that kid is my best friend, and I have 3 other very close friends I met through him. Not only that, but I also met my first girlfriend because of the connections some of my new friends had. It transformed my high school years from being alone to having an amazing group of friends I could do almost anything with. I intended to ask my best friend to be my best man one day, and I don't intend on ever getting out of touch with any of them. I'm home from college now, and we are going to have a lot of fun together. Best decision I've ever made. Your story is oddly similar to mine. Lol. At the beginning of college, they set up all different activities that you could sign up for and spend time with other new incoming freshmen. I forget how I linked up with this certain group, but I think I just met someone and we were friendly, so I just ended up with their group. Everyone was super nice, and given that Six Flags has the worst lines, there's a lot of time to talk. I got to meet some cool people and enjoyed my day immensely. Fast forward to today. The one person I don't remember being there, but remembers me as one of my absolute best friends. 7 years now, and I still laugh at how I don't remember meeting her that day. My desire for pizza set off a chain reaction that destroyed my family. One day got home from school and really wanted pizza. Family was poor, so spontaneous food trips weren't always in the cards. Really worked my pouty face to my mom and begged to go to the local pizza place for dinner. She said alright. While chilling there, I saw my uncle walk by, and I was like, Daduck, Uncle X, is that you? Now you might say, well, he wanted pizza, what's the big deal? Well, he lived several states away, so to arbitrarily be in town and not tell anyone was strange. Turned out he was having an affair with his sister-in-law, my aunt on the other side of the family. She was basically a money-grubbing whore and the family protested. One thing led to another and everyone hates each other now, and we haven't had contact in like 20 years. I just wanted some pizza. Domino's effect. Lol, domino effect indeed. Except this pizza was actually good. P. Was going to carpool with my aunt to a family gathering. At the last minute I decided to go by myself, so I could leave early if I wanted. It was a ways out of town and I didn't want to be stuck there. On the way there she drove off the road into a ditch. She was okay, but the passenger side of her car was totally smashed in. The older I get, the more I'm constantly cognizant of the vast cascade of seemingly insignificant decisions and actions that led me to where I am. For example, a decision 25 years ago to change a refrigerator light bulb before going out resulted in my being at the wrong time and place so as to get mugged, which resulted in my decision to move out of the city I had been living in, which resulted in my meeting my wife, and from there to having all my kids and the whole shebang. I would have had a different whole shebang had I not changed that light bulb that afternoon. But the path to the present leads through that and 1,000 other similarly trivial decisions. This is so interesting to me. I wonder if your life would really be so different if it wasn't for that light bulb, or that you might have decided the same because of other reasons. I guess that is the general question on the validity of the butterfly effect. For many of these people, life would not necessarily be so different, especially for the romantic matches. If you have the right personal characteristics to find a good match, it's more just a matter of iterating over all your social interaction. A significant number of instances where you meet new people are serendipitous, and so it seems remarkable. The truth is that it's likely that every path to finding the one would have gone through some trivial happenstance. So it's not really the happenstance that did it, but your underlying background and personal qualities. A bit less true, but likely similar for those who got jobs or big promotions and such like. They worked hard and had ambition, so they were properly positioned to say yes when they were dealt a chance. Not all the time, obviously, but a lot of them. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.